This was a gutsy custom order. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. It's 4th of July week, and Tone Shop Guitars listed two very interestingly patriotic custom orders. So let's go ahead and start with our Les Paul. It's red, silver, and blue, but they're going for the whole sparkly red, white, and blue theme. It's a fantastic thing to be patriotic, but not everybody wants that on their guitars. For example, in the past there's been commemorative American flag Les Pauls in both Les Paul Standard as well as Les Paul Custom formats. We'll look at those a little bit more later on. But this one I felt was kind of a refreshing take where it doesn't necessarily have to be tied down just to a patriotic holiday gig. You could play this at any point in time. However, when I look at it, I don't actually think America. I actually think of an early 2000s promotional guitar for Pepsi. If anybody owns one of these and wants to sell it, I do want one in my collection now because it's just hilarious. Even though I don't even like Pepsi at all, I love the way that they incorporated the red, white, and blue Pepsi logo onto a Les Paul in a way that makes sense. But this one's solid colored finishes. You get your blue, white, and red with the colored pearloid on your fretboard. But our custom over here doesn't have the wiggliness to it, it's just straight lines. In 2018, there was a limited edition Boogie Van Les Paul that similarly had 3 colors on the top that this also kind of reminds me of. The closest color scheme to this is like an aged Pepsi logo, red, yellow, and blue. But it's real easy to go too far over the top with this stuff. It's actually refreshing that they just decided to go straight up silver sparkle on the back sides, as well as the neck. But that's what's kind of exciting about this, is it's not a mod collection guitar. It's a factory first from the custom shop. Because I really miss when Gibson used to do this. Weird, quirky designs. They would make like 5 or 10 of them, publish it as a limited edition, and then let it go for their next crazy idea the following year. So far, the mod collection's really just been taken over for that aspect of the company. But I'll be interested to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions of our stars and stripes on this one, because they're asking $7,500, which is about a $2,000 premium. This one just appears to be a regular Les Paul custom because it's a Nashville-style bridge rather than a reissue with the ABR1. But it is chambered, so hey, that's a little bit different, and they called it Patriot Sparkle. But for being chambered, a little under 9 pounds, not all that light. But interesting choice of 57 classic pickups. You don't find that in the custom shop very often anymore. But in the intro, I said they were gutsy to order this because if it doesn't sell by July 4th, you have to wait till next year or the next all-American holiday. But if Les Pauls aren't your style and reissue ES335s are, they did a 64 style with the block inlays in a similar color. Which one do you think pulls it off better? At first I was thinking the semi-hollow, but now that I see them side by side, the lines just don't look that straight on the 335, but it's because these are carved top guitars, and it's a very large guitar. It's got so many different angles to it. I can see why it probably didn't work out as well on the semi-hollow. So for that reason, I'm going to choose the Les Paul because the lines just look a little bit more straight, but it's a slightly more forgiving body. But they didn't go too crazy on these and like sparklify their headstocks. And the backside of this one is also silver. However, it's a bit more expensive at $8,199. But it looks like they made 2 of those. And they left things pretty standard there with the custom buckers. But I've got a nice special 4th of July episode for you this year. That'll be coming here in 2 days. So if you're watching this one late, make sure you check it. But back to the American flag Les Pauls. This one's listed over on the Sweetwater Gear Exchange. But the company started to make a lot of these right around the time of 9/11. That serial number tells us 2002. But the back of this one's just white. That's kind of aged creamy. But I wanted to take a second to show this one. Because A, it's a Les Paul custom, which is way cooler in my eyes. And normally, yeah, I'm not that big at putting a flag on my guitar. But the fact that it's blue on the back is just magnificent. If there was a flag guitar I would consider owning, it'd be something like this. But even this one has some age to it. And ironically, it's in Japan. But if those colors on a guitar aren't to your style, look at this old friend that showed back up on Reverb last night. 2014 Les Paul Custom single pickup silverburst. I had to click on this listing because I needed to know, is that my old one? At one point in time, I had a 1 pickup, a 2 pickup, and a 3 pickup Les Paul Custom all at the same time. I had purchased them from a collector. But sadly, this one's got a whole bunch of crazy finish checking going on now. but it is indeed my old one. It's just been heavily modified over the years. If I remember correctly, it had some vertical finish checking, but not quite that much. But the extra unique thing about this one is it actually shipped from the factory with gold hardware. And if I remember correctly, this was my first one pickup Les Paul custom that started the craze for me. And when I had purchased it, the seller did not disclose the headstock repair, and I had to find it. And it also had that big ding on it. I do remember that. It seems like he doesn't actually want to sell it, but he's asking $4,000. Man, it's crazy to go back to your old reverb listings 9 and 8 years ago. I mean, this 78 silverburst, it didn't sell none too quick, had replaced pickups. 2,300. Easily a $5,000 guitar yet today. That was a cool one. I remember it because it had that really iconic looking greenish glow to it. Here was another really good green one that I sold for a mere $2,900. This one's probably closer to the $5 to $6K range. I know it looks kind of clean from these photos, but it is worn. It looks cool, and it doesn't have tons of wear on the neck. But you know what? I think this one, I actually saw this for sale last night too. Check your serial number. Yeah, this one right here. I clicked on it because that seemed like a decent price for this market. But yeah, sure enough, that's the same old guitar. That's crazy. 2 of them on the same day, different sellers. I remember those marks on the side. Those are pretty gnarly. But somebody definitely Adam Jonesified that one. But anyways, back to what I was trying to show you. Yeah, I sold that one for $2,250. 8 years ago on Reverb, and I remember it lasted a little bit on here, and that was mainly because of the headstock repair. At that time, a regular custom was selling for about $3,000 to $3,500 on a good day. So I still feel I got top dollar at that particular point in time for a headstock repaired one. But CME just listed an interesting Cobra Burst 68 reissue for $7,700 if you're looking for something a bit more traditional. So being the 68 reissue, we get the ABR1 bridge, we get the maple top, we get the larger neck profile. They decided to throw the witch hat knobs on it, which is nice and period correct. You won't find an original 68 with the Cobra Burst finish, but hey, this hue is great if you're looking for something a little bit different. Looks like they opted to go for a black back instead of continuing your Cobra Burst, which would have been really cool. But they gave you those waffle back tuners just for fun, and your reissue Lifton style case. And I thought this tribute was pretty cool that Cash did over here. So this is somebody's tribute to the Mike Ness Les Paul Deluxe. We did the custom shop reissue episode of it here, if you want to check it out. But it's got your woodpecker guy, Orange County, I voted stickers, all that good stuff. But somebody took it and recreated it on a Les Paul special, which I think is just a lot of fun because they also refinished the whole thing in kind of a sparkly gold. Ah, man, impressive. They even have the little tape with the arrow. I always like it when I get messages from people saying, hey, I watched your video and you tearing it apart helped me get like all those fine details that I wanted for my replica that I was trying to make because I can't afford the real thing. Don't want to get those messages from people who are making counterfeits, but if you're just doing it for fun, hey, why not? It doesn't look like they tried to recreate the wear, which is perfectly fine. You want to do that yourself. But they definitely tinted the lacquer for the headstock. And that's got a pretty nice fretboard to it, but that definitely has some metal flake in it. Oh, interesting. This company that did the refinish work hides their branding under the pickguard. That way if somebody's like, oh, was this a custom order for Mike Ness, blah, 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 as they're tearing it apart to try to find any clues, you're going to find that underneath the pickguard. That's pretty cool. And then you, as the player, you don't have to see it. Now, it might become a problem if you ever want to take your pickguard off. Most people wouldn't on a Les Paul special. Next up, 2 from Eddie's Guitars. They're custom shop SGs, but they're SG customs with the Maestro Vibrola. However, they only have 2 pickups, so it really reminds me of the Elliot Easton signature. There's a few different versions of it out there, but that's essentially what they were. But this time, it's in Pelham Blue, and it's on sale for $3,800. I can tell you that's at least half the price of an Elliot Easton, at least usually what they list for. That really doesn't seem too bad for a newer custom shop either. But if blue's not your style, they also had a green one, which I thought was a lot of fun as well. So if you were always like, yeah, I hate that middle pickup, it's in my way when I play, you might check out one of these models. And we can wrap up tonight's episode with a wrap tail. So this one's listed as a 55 Hot Mod R5 Black. You don't find 1952 or 1955 reissues very much because there's just not that much demand for the original Les Paul. And a 55 is spec the exact same as a 54, so they don't use that too often. 56 is that next big change. So there was a hot mod series, without getting too deep into it today, where they created interesting modified guitars, like hot rods, taking it, souping it up. So this is like a 54 Raptail Gold Top blended with a Les Paul Custom. So instead of P90 or Alnico 5 pickups, they've routed it out for the humbuckers. You've got your Raptail, just like the Gold Top. So in many ways, you could say this is kind of Jeff Beck in style. But everything else about it is 100% Les Paul Custom. You don't find those in Raptail variations very often, because when they were introduced, they already had the ABR1 and stop bar tailpiece. It was the Les Paul Standard that kind of faltered around for a while. But it looks like this one's been played. It's got some scratches. He's in California, asking $72.50. But alright, Troglodytes, I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the next one. Take care.